You feel that knock? I feel like Rocky in this one, baby. Let's go. Alright, check it. Blast from the past, back from the future. So if I pull the trigger in the past, you know you and your future. I'm still hustling, still hugging the block. The referee to the shit, I'm still calling them shots. I can't be stopped, that's what I told you. I'm living my life like a box of Crayolas. I'm cutting up white, smoking that green. Purple color pens, I'm still making this cream. I'm so sick, check my throat quick. My wrist light up a room like a handful of glow sticks. I'm like spoiled milk, the kid's gone bad. Spanish the menace, my pen touches the pad.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Rick H Show. I'm your host, Rick H. We are back. Episode 226. It's been a long time coming. Last year, I decided to stop recording this podcast and rebrand it, and I created the 2 a.m. crew. Now, I'm going to get into the thought process behind all that in this episode and why all that happened, where I was, and what was going on. But before I continue, I want to thank all my co-hosts that were on this pod with me. I'm a little out of breath because I'm a little nervous. I haven't done this show by myself in a while. But I want to thank Paulie B, Benny Bangs, Craze, Justin Treese, Jayla, Ellie Jazz, Craze, Kaba, and Jasmine Ruiz. They all were a part of this show, and Ivan Manito and Mr. Nueva York were on the show for a while. So I just want to give a special shout out to them. Yes, we are back. Yes, the show is back. Welcome to the show. It's been a moniker I've said so many times. Over 140. No, this is episode 26. So I probably said it over 320 times. So welcome to the show, and let's just get into the nitty gritty. What happened to the Rick H Show? So for a while, I was not really inspired to do this pod. This show was born on September 8th, 2018. It started with an idea at a July 4th barbecue at Justin and Jen's place back in Brooklyn. Well, at the time, it was just Jen's place. And it just was me wanting to have conversations and tell stories, essentially. I would have conversations with my brother and Paulie B constantly at work, with Craze as a friend of mine. And I felt like I knew a lot of dope people, and I wanted to interview them and showcase their talent. When you do a pod or a show, you have to know what you're doing, what your message is, and who your audience is, and why are you creating this. The why is very important. For a while, I just ran on pure adrenaline and energy. Those first 5-6 seasons, I worked harder than any podcaster had ever worked. The goal was to make this a great pod. Unfortunately, people were tuning in for the guest, not for the show. It's a mistake that every podcaster makes. You know, you think booking the big guests is going to get you the big views, but they should be tuning into your show for you, not for the guests. I was fortunate that a lot of people trusted me with their stories. I was fortunate that a lot of people said yes, and I was very fortunate to network and meet some very interesting, dope, incredible individuals along the way. Then I'm gonna say COVID hit, and we were going into season 5. I had just announced Jayla would be the co-host. My wife was pregnant with our firstborn child. I felt like I was on a nice groove The audio downloads and the video downloads were up. The show was getting a great reception. People were starting to tune in because of us, not because of the guests. Because at the time you started to see guests on the show that you might not have known about, that you might not have known what industry they worked in, but you knew of their work, if that makes sense. So it was at its peak. Then COVID hit, and I really didn't know how I was gonna produce the show, because before that we were at the Monkey Room, and the vibe and the energy in the Monkey Room, you can't duplicate that. And I think we were one of the first pods to shoot with a live audience watching us, and it got very interesting. A couple episodes, there was over 35 people in the back of the Monkey Room, just watching us have a conversation. Um, those were some amazing times, but then COVID was hit here, and I didn't know how this was going to happen. And at the time, working a full time job, my wife's pregnant, we're on lockdown. Um, I had gone back to school because this podcast thing, to me, I took it very serious. I went back to school to study media and communications. So I was doing a lot. Um, and I had figured a way, when I was in the Monkey Room, it was great, live energy, and, people could come. It would be in person. In person is a different energy and different vibe when you're recording an episode with an in-person episode. Excuse me. So I had figured I don't need the person to be here in person. I could do stuff virtually, and virtually I get the advantage of, interviewing people in the West Coast, interviewing people in other countries, and going to places where the show couldn't go because we were based out of Washington Heights in New York City. So um, it was a different chapter, an interesting time in the podcast. Um, I probably booked some of my biggest guests during the COVID era, and people were home, they were locked down, they needed something to do, and I try to push as much content as possible during that time. And I made a lot of friends. Uh, Tried to launch a network around that time. I don't consider it a failure because that I learned a lot of lessons from Uptown Live that I wouldn't repeat again in the next two attempts at doing a network. So when COVID was ending, I made the decision to continue to record virtually still, um, just because it was a lot for me to travel, Justin to travel all the way uptown to Washington to record the show. The cast had changed, the co-hosts had moved around, but I still wanted to do content. I still wanted to shoot episodes. I still wanted to continue doing the Rick A show. Then around 20, I'm gonna say 2022, uh, I was getting approached to do other things, and I started doing other things. Mike came along with the idea of trying to put something together. He was telling me that Chicle wanted to do a podcast, and Chicle and Millennium wanted to do a podcast together. And if I would be interested in helping or assisting in some form or fashion. So that went into this group. Um, I brought the Rick A show over to this group. We we got things going in the right way. There was some stuff that didn't go the way we wanted it to, but um, I got to link up with Kava. At this point in time, it was just me. My other co-hosts couldn't do the show anymore, and I got some great feedback from Kava, and he produced the show for say about a year and a half. It was a good run. I went back to doing in-person episodes that were recorded, edited, and uploaded. So I've done it everything. I've done live. I've done stream. I've done in person. I've done recorded. I've done episodes in any form or fashion that there is to do a podcast. I've done it all. Then while shooting at the studio, Kaba and Mike were like, "Yo, Rick, your sports content is pretty good. Like, maybe you should turn the Rick A show into a sports show." At that point in time, I wasn't sure what I was doing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't 100% focused or sold on doing this show. I was just doing it at that point not to quit. That's not a reason to do things. Uh, you gotta know. You gotta be into it and invested into it and fully committed to it. And you could tell when I do an episode. You could tell when it's something that I threw together, or you could tell when I do one and it's well thought out. So at that point in time, I'm thinking, you know, I got, probably some of the best people in content creation telling me I should. Even Chicle was saying you should do sports at that time, telling me I should think about rebranding the show, redoing the show. And I did, and I listened to them. But I made a fatal mistake when I did that. Here's where I went wrong. I didn't pause and take a second because I've recorded this show nonstop. I would take a couple weeks breaks in between, but I would record year round. Some podcasters don't do that, some do. I would record year round, and I was at the point where I needed a break, and I should have took a break, and I should have just re-energized and focused. I shouldn't have just did the first thing that someone else told me to do. Do I believe they steered me in the wrong direction? Absolutely not. I think they were telling me something that they 100% believed in. I think the idea was great. So I went with it. I approached it the wrong way. I rebranded the Rick K Show as a sports show instead of creating a separate entity. Uh, so fast forward, I'm gonna say a year and a half into it. Um, my grandmother passed away, and this is 2023. And I was at the point where I was only doing this show to make money, realistically, and I really wasn't invested into it. And then I decided to change the name of the pod and rebrand and kill off the Rick A Show. And I didn't know, like, at that point in time, I really should have honestly just took time to myself and regrouped. It took me a very long time to build this brand to what it was and what it is. And I should have never took it for granted. And I should have really planned it out a lot better. So that's what happened to the Rick A Show. And I really thought, like, hey, I want to do a sports show. I'm really, really passionate and adamant about sports. When this show started, it was supposed to be a sports show. So I was like, hey, I'm going to make it a sports show. But Reality, what this show is me having conversations and me speaking to interesting people and interviewing people that I know and that I like and admire and sharing stories and having them share their stories. So the Rick A show is really about me. And when I gave up on the show, I gave up on myself. So this is me rectifying that. Now, why am I back? So I want to give a shout out to Jason Enrique, Rachel La Loca. It's a couple people, Ivan Manito. It's a couple people that I communicate with and have honest conversations about, what I'm doing and my pod and everything. And they push me, they inspire me. And a couple of years ago, I met Jason. I knew from our first meeting and because we recorded a couple episodes together. I went out to Jersey. Shout out to Marv's studio out there. Shout out to Marv. I knew that I had met someone that was just as passionate as me and had the drive and the determination. He just needed help and guidance. And I like to think that I made myself available to help him out as much as possible. So when at the time we're shooting the 2 a.m. crew, which is what the Rick H show ended up turning into, I reached out to him and I said, hey, I mean, he had volunteered a couple times, but I reached out to him and I said, hey, why don't we do the 2 a.m. crew together as a partnership? And he agreed over this past summer. And I still had the itch to do my own thing and my own interviews and my own show and, you know, tell stories and shoot content other than sports. Because sports it's a part of me, but it's not all of me, you know. So that's why I brought the show back. And it's coming back with a purpose, a plan, and a message. So that's what today is all about. Today in 2018, I launched this show. And today I bring it back. And I want to dedicate this show to my family, my kids, my wife, my mother, and my grandmother. My grandmother got to see me do the show live, and I'm forever grateful for that. She meant a lot to me. And it has not been the same, but there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't think about her. So I don't know whether it's her. I don't know whether it's, my unborn child. But something inside me told me I needed to come back. I needed to be me. I needed to be authentic as possible. And I needed to do it for the right reasons. And that's what this is. This is me bringing my show back in its purest form, in pure honesty, for the right reasons. So, welcome to the show. Now, this week, there isn't a guest. Show will be airing Mondays at 8. It's going to be pretty special. The Rick Gay Show will air Mondays at 8. On Mondays. I said Monday again. The 2 a.m. crew will be airing Tuesdays. And then Jason's show will be airing on Wednesdays. So it'll be a 3-night thing where it's me and Jason. So it's going to be pretty good. I'm excited about what we're doing together as a team. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I really am. So, back in, I'm going to say 2020, I met a lot of interesting people, a lot of podcasters, a lot of um, content creators, writers, artists, musicians, designers. Excuse me. Some pumpkin beer as the fall's coming. Met this interesting guy. He created a deck of cards that's for interviews. So they're called pod decks. Now, this is it's not a sponsor segment or anything. I just thought it would be funny, funny, entertaining, and cool if I answer some of the questions on these cards for you guys. So I'm gonna randomly pull out a few cards. I'll read the question and then I'll give you my answer. Quick little segment. Excuse me. What would you do if you were invisible for a day? Oof. Invisible for a day? I don't know. I don't think I would want that. Like, what would you want to do? Would you want to go to the White House, be invisible, listen to some of the conversations going on there? Like, I don't know. I don't think that's a like a superpower that I would like to time travel. That would be cool. What do you think is the most unpleasant sound in the world? Excuse me. My allergies are killing me. This is terrible for podcasting. To me, the most annoying sound in the world has to be when someone is chewing loudly. And what I mean by chewing is like when they're doing the. I can't. It just like it drives me nuts when someone does that. I don't know if it's just me. If you had a personal mascot, what would it be and why? Um, Personal mascot. Like a mini me? It had to be my son. Just because my son is just like so funny, he's like witty. My son is a character. Some of the stuff he says is hilarious. So I would say him, but he's my son. Like he's not a mascot, but I would say him. What is the weirdest thing you find attractive in a person? Um, that's a good question. Let me see. See, it's a tricky question too because something that might be weird to you might not be weird to someone. So, but let me think. I'm attracted to a lot of stuff that my wife like. She has like a dimple on her cheek. Um, Certain ways she does things or says things, little mannerisms she does. I find them adorable. The fact that she thought So, all right, she's gonna kill me. So when we were first dating, my wife loves dinosaurs. She's into Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. So uh, she thought she thought rhinos were like dinosaurs that still existed. She didn't know. I mean, it's like when I told her they weren't dinosaurs, it's like if you told a kid that Santa Claus didn't exist. So, this is a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I like it. What weird food combinations do you really enjoy? Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna say Chips Ahoy chocolate chip cookie with nacho cheese Doritos. Now, hear me out on this one before anybody starts judging me or whatnot. I used to buy the Doritos bag, excuse me, and either Chips Ahoy or Famous Amos, and I would open the Famous Amos and throw it in my Doritos bag and shake it up. If you think it's gross or disgusting or you don't agree with me, I challenge you to take a chocolate chip cookie and a Doritos nacho chip and just take one bite and chew it and let me know if you like it or not. That's it's that's the question. So, um, what is your most unusual talent? I don't think I have one. Um, I've asked this question to guests like a bunch of times. They always got like a funny answer. But I personally don't think I have one. Maybe podcasting or talking to people or being able to um, start a conversation with anyone. Maybe I don't know, but I don't think that's weird talent. So, what is the funniest place you've ever fallen asleep in? Easily, in Greece, I fell asleep on a tanning bed, and there's a video of it. Um, but it was just so peaceful, you know. Like the wind was like nice and cool. I was laid up and comfortable. So, is a hot dog a sandwich and why? No, it is not. It is not a sandwich. It's a hot dog. You'll never see it on a menu. Sandwiches, hot dog there. No, it is not. It's a different type of meat. Um, these are pretty good questions, but I would rather ask these to someone. Um, do I have any superstitions? Yeah. Who would most likely sit next to you on a 10-hour flight and why? This is gonna be the last one. It's 100% gonna be my wife. I don't like flying without her. I'm terrified of planes, so like I kind of hold her hand when it takes off and when it lands. The weird thing with me is when the plane's up and it's flying and it's cruising, I'm good. I just have an issue with the takeoff and the land. I don't know if it's just me or other people feel the same way as me, but I'm not, and I've been on so many planes already now. I'm still not comfortable with it, you know. So during takeoff, like I hold her hand and I just close my eyes and I lay back. Um, and I do the same thing when it's about to land. It's just it comforts me. So I have been on an 11-hour flight with her from Greece. So Yeah, I wouldn't sit next to anybody. I also been on a 7-hour flight with her, and the television wasn't working. Thank God I put a lot of like Netflix shows on my phone, and that's what me and her did. We watched a ton of Netflix stuff. So it would be her. But yeah, I'm back. The show will be back. The segments will be back. My friends will be back. Happy birthday to the Rick H Show. I'm sorry that you went away, but you had to go away so I could bring you back for the right reasons. And I can't wait to see where the next, let's say, 300 episodes take us. So till next time, I'll see you guys.
You feel that now? I feel like Rocky in this one, baby. Let's go. Alright, check it. Blast from the past, back from the future. So if I pull the trigger in the past, know you and your future. I'm still hustling, still hugging the block. The referee to the shit, I'm still calling them shots. I can't be stopped. That's what I told you. I'm living my life like a box of Crayolas. I'm cutting up white, smoking that green. Purple color pens, I'm still making this cream. I'm so sick, check my throat quick. My wrist light up a room like a handful of glow sticks. I'm like spoiled milk, the kid's gone bad. Then it's the minutes my pen touches the pad.